Hi there, and welcome to Apple World. The hip-hop world has been about the new and youthful rappers of late causing disturbances with their popular styles. However, presently the spotlight has swung back to the legends of the game Suge, despite the fact that he's in prison, who has figured out how to stand out as truly newsworthy with his digital broadcast call with Suge, a piece of Dave May's breakbeat media in this web recording. Knight shares stories from his life, particularly the large Paramount minutes. Anyway, it's his episodes discussing Snoop Dogg that have truly got individuals talking. I'm Dave Mays, and this is a gathering call with Suge. What you're going to hear are discussions about Crude and Whole with the unbelievable organizer behind Death Row Keeps. He's currently carrying out a 28-year sentence in California State Jail. His trustworthiness, weakness, and present status of the brain will be generally heard in this weighty digital recording series. Knight didn't keep quiet when he discussed Snoop, and his words left a huge number all over the planet. Pretty stunned, it began a parcel of gab, with individuals recommending that Knight is squealing on Snoop, attempting to cross paths with the present discussion. Circumventing Snoop felt he needed to move forward and express something about these cases that Knight is squealing on him and about his own past. So, we should get into this story. It's about how the old school is getting back into the game, even with the new, where long-maintained mysteries are emerging and each new detail keeps you needing to know, all the more leading us to plunge into the set of experiences among Knight and Snoop. This story is a strong part of the storybook of hip bounce, winding around together, music fights for control, and a startling closure of compromise following quite a while of contention. It starts in the mid-90s, a brilliant time for rap music, with Death Row Records at the very front of the West Coast rap scene. The central characters in our story are Snoop Dogg, a new confronted rapper known for his laid-back and smart rhymes, and Knight, the imposing and frequently dubious head of the Death Line. Snoop Dogg excursion with Death Row began when Dr. Dre, one of the top makers in the business, saw something uniquely great in Snoop Dogg's casual rap style and smart verses. This coordinated effort prompted an outline of the best hits that surprised the music business. Snoop's presentation collection from the rear broke records, catapulting him to notoriety in the meantime. Knight was the man in the background at Death Row, governing the mark with an iron clench hand and a standing that motivated both steadfastness and dread. The connection between Snoop and Knight was definitely perplexing, while Knight was instrumental in Snoop's move to fame. The negative exposure encompassing Death Row started to weigh vigorously on Snoop. The circumstances arrived at a breaking moment where Snoop had to deal with murder penalties, inciting him to rethink his life and his relationship with Death Row's hazier viewpoints. The takeoff of Dr. Dre from Death Row indicated to Snoop around that it was the ideal opportunity for a change, having a distanced and concerned outlook on his vocation. Snoop took the jump toward the no-restriction records claimed by Expert P. This move marked a new beginning for Snoop, away from the Knight's shadow. "I'm not a piece of death anymore. I'm on no-restriction records right now, preparing to be on the rear records. My own name, and I'm looking towards the future. What's done is done. You understand what I'm talking about. You all have sufficient film and enough data and reports to tell individuals what occurred with that. That is a piece of my life that I truly, attempt to neglect and attempt to move past. You understand what I'm talking about. It resembles when you were in grade school. You love to think back on it. However, it's done. You understand what I'm talking about. It's done. I know that generally we should continue on toward variable-based math. You understand what I'm talking about. I'm in another stage right now, at a new level of the game, and passing row. It's fun while it lasts, and it was what it was. Nevertheless, it was more negative than positive, and this moment I'm encircling myself with energy, so at whatever point I talk about death, it brings back terrible vi, and I could do without harping on it anyway." The change wasn't smooth. Snoop delivered the following evening, featuring the profundity of their aftermath. This period of open aggression highlighted the crumbling of their relationship with Snoop, scrutinizing Knight's administration style. Notwithstanding their different ways in the music industry, both kept on leaving their imprint. Snoop developing into a hip bounce symbol, and late evening confronting legitimate difficulties. "It's not about blood, it's about you being jealous," shockingly, in spite of their tumultuous history. Snoop and Knight at last settled on some mutual interest, This compromise was something other than an individual achievement. It was a defining moment in hip jump culture. Stressing the significance of pardoning Snoop Melody Bion, Be Past Events epitomizes this opinion, upholding for relinquishing hard feelings and continuing on in harmony. This goal denotes another section in their renowned relationship, helping us to remember the intricacies and open doors for self-awareness and recovery in the rap game. Well, you actually had a decent connection with him today. Me and Sha cool as a mother, cool with she, I'm cool with Mastup. Dr. Dre, I'm cool with everyone, no doubt. How might you not be cool with Snow? But rather, I needed to go get that cool with him. I needed to go sit out with SH, yet presently it seems that any shared conviction they once shared is gone on the grounds that Suge Knight has recently gotten down on an uncovered Snoop Dogg. This most recent improvement has reignited interest in the West Coast hip bounce scene, returning a focus on the dramatization that once unfurled Knight. The previous big cheese of Death Row Records has made a few powerful cases on his show Collie Call with SH Knight communicated by Dave May's Breakbeat Media. Knight claims he played an urgent part in keeping Snoop Dogg out of jail for life. This all traces all the way back to 1993, when Snoop Dogg and his guardian were captured regarding the homicide of Philip Minimal Smooth Wallam. Mariam in Los Angeles. Knight shares how he was instrumental in fostering a safeguard procedure that depended on the kind of shots utilized, a strategy he accepts was critical to winning the case. Knight's disclosures don't end with a fight in court. He likewise revealed that he dished out $6 million to streamline post-preliminary issues, including handing Ling somebody who was attempting to extinguish Snoop Dogg. Knight makes sense of that. This included drawing in a confidential examiner and disposing of a possibly harming tap. Now for Snoop to say Kay and Michael Harris is accomplishing something altogether that lets you know a ton of I'm frustrated in that, since, supposing that you need for me, you'll in any case be in jail doing life. You pivot and you say, you accomplices up with this buddy, not one or the other. One of you all got death row, or F death row, or by death row, when Snoop got sentenced for the homicide. Snoop Pup, an appointed authority in Los Angeles, denied today to drop murder accusations against him. We, the jury, or more entire activity viewer respondent. Calvin Broyce not entirely blameworthy of the wrongdoing of homicide in the first degree. Yet the main thing from in scope from every other person that was in the business told me, don't squander $1 on that Snoop guardian. Likewise showed up during a meeting with Cam Capone News, sharing his viewpoint on the showdown that raised, prompting him, terminating, justifiably, he planned to harm, not kill, focusing on the body. However, unfortunately, the casualty was hit in the hip and shoulder bone, prompting his demise. The repercussions turned out to be more tangled when the casualty's companions eliminated the weapon, muddling the police's examination. At last, Snoop Dogg and his protector were vindicated of all accusers of their guard featuring in self-preservation and bringing up blunders. By the Los Angeles Police Division, this preliminary has turned into a milestone in West Coast hip bounce history, typifying the extraordinary crossing point of music distinction and there's law. So he's sponsorship up, he's aid goodness, man. Knows he be stumbling at times. Man, we realize you are man. It's my shortcoming. No, don't. I'm grieved. And out of nowhere, the shrubs vacillate, and you see someone run out of the shrubberies, and it was Philip, while Moran, at the time he runs, and he attempts to, you realize he gets to his person snatches him. He man, no, he drives him away. Except for when he pushes, he lifts his shirt, and he comes to yet soon. Yet when I saw him begin to arrive at that is the point. At which I took my weapon I shot. Now you need to recollect now I let you know there was a little grade. My expectation, I needed to hit him in the lower part of his body. So as I'm pointing, he's turning. And as I'm pointing here, I shoot PW simultaneously. It's precisely reliable with what I said when he was turning. He got hit in the hip and in the shoulder bone. And sadly, the one that went through his hip went through him and his shoulder, and he took off. Subscribe Apple World for more videos.